Chuck Aikens. Feel free to grab the LinkedIn or the email if you have questions afterwards, because I know that we're going to cover a lot in the next 30 minutes and may have questions. I owned a marketing agency in Denver, Colorado for about 15 years. We did SEO, web development, content. I'm now a marketing consultant. I also do some web entrepreneur things, podcasts and technology websites. Through all that, I'm not only a technologist, but I'm an AI tinkerer. I'm part of 5 or 6 communities that I meet with almost weekly. One of them is actually in person in Denver that I actually run. So I'm around other AI tinkers and enthusiasts all the time. I hope today is that I can really bring you guys to the edge of AI without overwhelming you, so that you can make sense of what 2025 is going to look like, either for you or your brand. I also have experience in the natural space, a lot of CPG. There's a few members that I actually work with actively along the top, a supplement company in Zaka. And my first naturals client ever was Bobo's many years ago with Mike McKay before he went over to A2. And I also do things in the energy space. Shine is a wind turbine, and I have a couple other energy and sustainability things that I do with folks. So just know that well versed in what everyone in the room is up against. AI in 2025. We've had a busy start to the year. This particular website, when you get the presentation later, you can go there and see the timeline of when all the frontier models do their different releases. On February 25th, we got Claude 3.7. And the reason this was important, it was the first time that the traditional chat model and something that we're going to talk about today, which is reasoning, existed in the same window. Not too long ago, and we're going to dive into this, it's only available in their $200 a month product, but their frontier models, which is what we call Claude, OpenAI, DeepSeek, and Gemini, do offer it for free or only a little bit. And we're not even covering all the other leading AI companies like Perplexity and Runway and Microsoft's Copilot. So this timeline, that was a busy start, is only the frontier models. So what we want to talk about today, 2 questions that I hope to answer for you by the end of this quick presentation. If you're going to make the most AI in 2025, how do you improve your productivity? I call it collapsing time, doing the same or more in less time. And can AI improve your performance? Because it's one thing to collapse time and get more productive. It's another to actually see it work and do something of quality that makes a difference in a marketing campaign. One of the things that I taught last year in the training, Summer and I did, and what a lot of people ask me about, is how to write prompts better. Actually say politely, I'm not going to teach you how to write prompts, because I don't think the average person, even myself, should spend a lot of time writing prompts. So the first thing that I want to do for any of you that are using OpenAI is encourage you to search for GPTs. You can even go to Google and say something like, find custom GPT for social media, email marketing, like all of the custom GPTs, which are tools that people have put together, they're all available to you. Down this left-hand side are all the custom GPTs that I use every day. And I use a custom GPT called GS Prompt Pro to write my prompts. Prompt engineering is done by AI. And if you wanted to take that to another level, I put a link in here to a product called Promptimize AI that I'll tell you what it does here in a second. To get ready for this, and I did this morning because Ted and I talked yesterday about what we probably cover. I said, what can I help with? And I said, hey, act like a teacher and explain reasoning for me. And here's what ChatGPT did. So before I fed it in, is hit this little button given by the browser extension on the prompt AI tool. And the second screen is the long prompt that it wrote. Basically, I used AI to take something very simple, like a teacher, and explain agent reasoning in AI for a presentation I'm giving, and broke that down, wrote a long prompt, and I got a 10-slide presentation. Let AI write your prompts. Now, this is a huge time saver and increases your productivity. I'm about to take you through things that are going to get more complicated. Don't worry about the fact that you've never done this or that it looks complicated. I want to leave you with key takeaways so that when you're back at your desk or on your phone, you have some concepts you can deploy. One of these is see if you can figure out how to let AI write your prompts. It'll make you a lot better at prompting. You're not going to become a prompt engineer. Now, let's talk about agent reasoning. I want to break it down into 3 buckets and not worry about this complicated thing that we're looking at. When people talk about agents, they're not talking about chatbots. They're not talking about chat GPT. What an agent does, it plans, retrieves, and it generates. I'm going to walk you through this, but just kind of keep that in mind. This is Gemini because it's free and you guys can use it either in the Google product. If you have Google Business, you have to pay for it. But if you have Gmail account, you can actually sign up for Gemini and get access to it. And this is a basic chat. What is it? Agent reasoning in AI, and it gave me back chat response. So that's the chat example. Now I want to use Gemini and take you through what deep research looks like. I put what is agent reasoning in AI, and it developed a plan for me. I click start research. And so we retrieved information from 35 websites. I've seen this do as much as 200 websites in a deep research. Once it read all of the different websites, it generated a report for me so that I could learn more about agent reasoning, agentic, in AI, and what is the next frontier that we're going to be experiencing in 2025 as we go from a simple chat back and forth to agentic, using an example of deep research to show plan, retrieve, generate. So I took the article that was produced and I put it in Notion, and my Taimu website is hooked up to Notion. So I want to do a different deep research example, a researcher that I modified but was given to me through open source that I use every day. I clicked my button in my browser. I'm going to show you more of this as we go through this. And I selected researcher. This little window popped up and it read the article in my browser and said, what do you want to research? I said, I want to research agentic reasoning and AI. And you can see what it did. It extracted topics. It read things in the background. It built a research plan. Then it's based on that plan, I'm going to go generate a lot of search queries and I'm going to execute them. Same type of process. Now, this is an example of what this workflow looks in Mind Studio. Don't worry about it. Just know that workflows and AI prompts drive all of this. Using this deep research example in Mind Studio, I produced a rather extensive research article on the same topic. And you can see some examples of the content that I put out, as well as very detailed sources so that I could trust what it compiled for me. This concept of, can I be more productive? If I'm looking at anything in my browser and I want to deep research it, I hit a button, I wait 5 minutes. I have a lot of information that would have taken me hours and hours to do the research on in the past. If you want to read the article, it's going to be linked in the presentation so you can get an idea of the quality. But I think it ended up being about 5,000 words. I could scan it. There were videos and all cited and sourced. Okay. What's going to happen here is I'm going to play a video and talk over it because I don't think the sound is going to come through. But I'm going to show you AI automations. This is my Deciphering Digital podcast. And I want to use an agent to consume data faster. AI is coming to your browser. You just don't know it yet. So I clicked it. I said, summarize YouTube video. The agent's going out and retrieving all of the information and captions. It's reading the transcription. And what it's going to do is it's going to return back to me information. But what if I want to actually do marketing, not just read about this? People ask me to optimize YouTube videos all the time. Using the same type of process, I can now become more productive. I can say, I'll read this same video, look at the transcription, and then return based on best practices, a title, a YouTube description, give me a transcript, and I could possibly even use the transcript to do something like write a blog post. You can see right here in the browser without having to go anywhere, the YouTube content optimizer agent had a plan, retrieved, and then generated the output for me. This is workflow automation against YouTube and marketing, helping me do my job better on the behalf of clients. I can also give this button to brands like you or people that I work with so that they can do their own YouTube automations. I took the same prompts, the same logic, and I did build a bot. This has been out there for about 6 months. The agent that you saw has been out about 6 weeks. What's happening is what we used to do in bots, where you have to go back and forth as a human, are now being handled by the agents because they can use our logic and reasoning to work through the process. Let's go through a couple more examples of things that I think is really neat. In the multimodal world, and this is Claude, I use OpenAI probably 60 to 70% of the time, Claude 30, Gemini a little bit, but OpenAI and Claude are my favorites. And what I've learned to do is to talk to Claude. So here's what it looks like in the browser, but here on my phone, if you'll look down here at the bottom, there's a little microphone. I literally went on a walk and rambled for 5 minutes. I hit the button, and what this prompt does is it takes all my ramblings and makes sense out of it without editing the post. I took my ramblings and put it on LinkedIn. That is not AI generated. Those are my unique thoughts from my walk around that led to my LinkedIn post. Took me about 3 or 4 minutes to post it afterwards because I already had my screen capture. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, you can like that or comment on it. You now see how in a workflow, productivity and performance wise, I used voice modality and AI to get things out of my head. Do this with note taking. You could do it on a hike. I come back to my desktop. All of my voice mode talking is already in the browser-based chat, right? It's one interface. So that's another kind of tip. Get those thoughts out of your head. It's an idea. So what I want to do is show you a very sophisticated workflow automation flow that has changed how much time I have to spend doing writing a blog post, but also the performance I get out of it because I've automated the workflow. Now, there's a lot of traditional prompting and customization, target audience, writing style, voice characteristics, personas, even loading samples of writing so that the workflow is optimized towards a particular brand is all built into this. Instead of trying to go to a prompt on ChatGPT to get it to do something, we're going to run it through workflow. There's no less than about 25 different prompt calls to make it happen. So again, I'm going to run a video. This is about 1:45. I may not be able to keep up with it, but I just want you to know that there's a number of integrations in here between Airtable, SEMrush, Google Docs, Surfer SEO that does optimization. It's all run by Mind Studio, which is called an AI platform as a service. And it interacts and switches between OpenAI and Claude, because what I found is that OpenAI is a better orchestrator, whereas Claude is a better writer. This is my application that called Tidal Wave Content. The output is going to be that draft for a brand blog post in less than 3 minutes. This is what it looks like. This is Tidal Wave Content. I'm going to add a new blog post real quick. I think what we're going to write about is electrifying your home. It's an energy thing. It involves solar panels and battery backups and stuff. As soon as I hit add, Google Docs are being created. Surfer SEO reports are being created. A page title is being generated. You can see the keyword volume and the keyword difficulty. Here's the Surfer SEO report that got developed. I might pop it or not pop it. It's empty right now, but we're about to fill it with content. So is the Google Doc, but it's empty. But what we're going to do is AI in the background is writing an outline based on these keywords that Surfer SEO told it needed to be in the article so that it ranks well. Now, here's our outline, the benefits, the step-by-step process. What are the challenges? What I'm going to do is I'm going to approve the outline and hit save. The agent is now running a lot of queries to produce the blog post against the system prompts. In the Google Doc, I now have a blog post. I copy and paste that into Surfer SEO. I now have base copy for a blog post in less than 3 minutes using AI and workflow automations based on best practices from hundreds of previous blog posts. I've taken the craft of what I do and know how to do, optimize YouTube videos, write a blog post, and I've applied AI and automation so that I can get more done in less time. Now, does it increase productivity? So remember, we got agentic in January. What the workflows that I would build in Zap or Make, they still involved using chatbots. It involved a lot of manual and human oversight. Put out 35 blog posts in December. In January, I did 41. And in December, working with the brands that use the system here, put out 58 blog posts, all of at least about 2,000 words. Now, we're 2 days into March. When I screen captured this morning, there are already 5 new ones out there, including, well, actually 4 plus the one I put into the system. Is there an increase in productivity? Yes. Is there a decrease in quality? No, because it's co-created in the process between humans and the AI bots that are continuing to get more efficient at their logic reasoning, and then it's all driven through automation. Does it improve performance? We started rewriting and using the system for their blog post in October. You can see what happened to their blog post website visits by January, just a few months later. Does it increase productivity? Yes, if deployed properly and built. Even if it's not built properly, we showed you some ways between letting AI write your prompts or using your voice to interact with AI to get things out of your head. Does it improve performance? Absolutely. When someone who knows what they're doing in social media, blogging, video promotions, can use workflow automations to take a process, not only does it ensure that it's done faster, but there's so many best practices that are put in place because you have a little more time to do things right and to go that extra mile. With that said, before I open it up and it'll translate for questions, I am making an offer for anybody that wants to do it. If you want to do a 90-minute session, you can go to this Calendly and book it. You can also text FFN to this number and I'll send you the link. I'd be more than happy to sit down with anybody here for 90 minutes and think about how we can bring AI into your current marketing challenges to collapse time, and I'll bring you more performance. If AI is trained on what is known in the world, how do you as a brand write something unique that provides value? Am I paraphrasing that right? Okay. Let me tell you what I did this week with Wild Planet. The founder of Wild Planet, the dad, 20 years ago, started the company. I interviewed his son, who is in charge of going out to all fisheries and canneries for an hour last week. Using his words and his knowledge, I'm going to be able to write content for them that talks about how seafood brought in, caught the right way, doesn't harm the ocean, and how they go about sourcing it against very specific specs is why they have high quality food. Now, they have the high quality salmon and tuna. Now, it does cost a little bit more, but we have to educate the consumer. And for me to educate him, I did a 1-hour Zoom interview and we created new information. So it is a very important question. But that is a technique. That is how we do it. So I'm constantly extracting knowledge and talking to folks, including some of the people that might be in the room, to learn more about what they do to create new information for the internet, how each company trains their AI. And just know that OpenAI is crawling the internet even more aggressively than Google does. If we think about this, Gemini is built on the Google search index, and they also have YouTube. OpenAI does not have YouTube. Google blocks them and will sue them if OpenAI uses YouTube videos to train their model. Why is OpenAI a Microsoft partner? Microsoft has a search engine and an index as well. This month, Twitter XAI released Grok, which is based on the Twitter feed. The only way to get the Twitter data is to use Grok. Thinking about what Amazon and Anthropic are doing, or who Perplexity is partnering with, if you want to be discoverable, you've got to figure out where they're getting data from. Reddit is Google. Like, you actually have to map and say, okay, because I haven't tweeted in years. I'm going to start tweeting again because I know it's going to feed that particular large language model. No other reason. And then tell it about a blog post or something in the news. OpenAI actually trains on Twitch, streaming on platform. OpenAI is also buying content directly from content creators who are influencers that isn't published on YouTube. Like, this is mind blowing to think about how to get your brand into the large language models based on how they're training their models. It's a great question, and that what it's called in the industry now is GEO instead of SEO. When we produce content and do promotions, we're thinking of both at the same time. The two things I'll say first on creative, 3 months ago, I would never generate images or video using AI. I now do it on a daily basis. There's even a few tools that are coming out specifically when you need to generate text, because even on Midjourney, right, the Gemini product, even though it's better at the creative photography, it still has trouble with text. We're going to get there real fast. I probably made 5 different images a day. Now, on the video front, there's 2 things I'll tell you. In ChatGPT, if you look for Descript, Descript, you can actually run a ChatGPT to make a video script, import it into your Descript account, and it will make the first draft of your video using stock footage. The video libraries, platforms, they're really good at doing it in 8 to 10-second increments. And then you can stitch it together, make social media clips. The ability to do creative is coming along. The personalization, I'm not finding it as effective now, but I think we're going to get there because it is personalizing the copy. It's just hard to personalize the creative at the moment. But that's my experience. I spend more time with copy and logic at the moment than I do creative, but I'm going into that space. Heavy on video. I'm all into video right now.
What do you think is Google going to do, despite the fact that more and more people are going to ChatGPT or call and answer the query and get the response? I'm curious to hear your perspective on this.
Yeah. So there's 2 things here. The first is, because of the change in consumer search, we now have to think about search everywhere. Search on TikTok, search on YouTube, search on Google, Bing, Perplexity, everywhere. There are some people seeing a lot of traffic coming from ChatGPT search. We're also seeing a lot of traffic coming from Google AI overviews, and it does not show up as organic traffic. It shows up as direct. If you are actually doing well with AI overviews in Google and ChatGPT, you can figure this out in Google Analytics. It's not built into the system properly, like how social media shows up in paid search. But you can go into your referring traffic and see if ChatGPT or Google or Gemini or Perplexity are giving you AI. I think Google actually may have harmed themselves by bringing AI overviews in as quickly as they did. We don't know how many people actually thought about the fact that they could search using AI. Google put it right at the top of the screen, introduced the concept. and now they're going to use AI to search. Interesting, but I don't think they had a choice. This is one of the reasons that I'm big on video, because if a year from now, deep research becomes normal research and generative content doesn't have information gain, one of the places it's going to show up is with influencers, thought leaders, and on video. If you want to start hedging your bet, I would start thinking about how you get found in places other than Google. Even if Google keeps their search revenue, people are going to search everywhere.